Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is Letters to Blue. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder, and this episode I am talking about all the letters that I have been getting from viewers with questions or maybe a story that they want to share, and I think this is a really good way to answer even more of your questions. So thank you to everybody who submitted a letter. If you would like your letter submitted, go ahead and send it to my email address, and I'll leave that down in the description box below. So let's get started. Okay, the first letter. Hello there. I am ready to start my education in medical coding and billing. But are medical coders and billers really still in demand? I've talked with many representatives that assure me that they are very much in demand. I know that these counselors will lie through their teeth to get you to sign up for their programs. The AAPC seems like it is the best school I can afford at this time. Have you received comments or questions about this program before? I'd like to take both medical coding and billing courses. In my state of Illinois, billing jobs are more plentiful than coding. Yet you need to be a certified coder to be an outstanding biller. So I'm thinking, if my state government is going to pay for my education, I should really take advantage of both programs, right? I'm reading so many negative comments online about how it is impossible to get a job without experience. I've asked myself, is this the right area for me? If you had to do it over again, would you still have went for your coding education, or is HIM a better place to start? I've been through EMT school and surgery tech school, and I'm very excited to apply the knowledge to coding and billing. I'm rambling on, sorry. So many questions, and I have just started watching your tutorials, and I find you to be very sincere and knowledgeable. I like that you are a straight shooter and very honest about coding. Thank you for your advice for reading this email. Thank you in advance for reading this email. I'm trying to make the best decision possible. I just need a little input from a professional. So I will start off by saying that yes, we are in demand. When you think about it, these medical records have to be looked at, and they have to be looked at by a professional in order to make sure that all of the information is being captured appropriately, and the diagnosis codes and the procedure codes are being applied appropriately, so that all of this data and all of this information can be shared and shared right. Okay, so we are in demand because of this. There are lots of biller jobs, but there's also lots of medical coding jobs. Now, when it comes to being a biller versus being a coder, you don't have to be certified to be a medical biller. And you don't have to have any sort of certification to be a medical biller. There are medical billing credentials out there. The AAPC has the CPB, which is a Certified Professional Biller. But I really recommend that if you have your own business as a biller, because if you're looking in the job listings for billers, you'll see that they're not asking for any sort of certification. So this is really important to know. Would it help if the billers knew about coding? Of course, which is how a lot of medical coders get their start. They get their start in medical billing, and then they work up from there, because it'll give them time and it'll give them exposure to medical codes and the industry itself. So it is a really good place to start if you are getting into medical coding and you can't get a job yet as a coder, because a lot of places are going to ask you to have experience already. And that is just a quirk of the industry. It is annoying. Trust me, I know, because we've all been through this. Now, I have done many videos about, what to do and how to get around that and things like that. I will be doing a resumes tip video pretty soon. And so because of this, I want you guys to understand that there's going to be a lot of talk anywhere you go. And of course, if you read comments online, nobody would be a medical coder if you read the comments that are online, which are horrific. They are horrible when it comes to medical coding, because you have people on there complaining that they were never able to get a job, or they never learned anything, or their teacher didn't teach them. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order for people to get good quality education. And sometimes it is just the luck of the draw, because not all instructors are created equally, just like not all medical coders are created equally. So that is something to know when you are getting into these programs. Now, I have always said to go through the associations themselves. There's two major medical coding association powerhouses: the American Health Information Management Association and the American Academy of Professional Coders. I have always recommended going through their online medical coding programs because it is directly with the associations themselves. There is no middleman. And a lot of times, even if you go to a trade school, there's no guarantee that the instructor is going to be really good, because an instructor can be just proctoring from the book and not really teaching the coders critical thinking skills. And if that's the case, then you may as well save money and go online to the association websites, either one, and go through their program, because it's going to be a fraction of the cost. I've seen like big trade schools and things like that, or big online schools that are thousands of dollars, when you can go directly to the association websites themselves, and their programs are just over $3,000 each. So that is something to consider when you are looking into that. There's also a video that I have out there on how to get your education paid for. That is something to look into as well, because if you're trying to get into medical coding because you want to better your life, you don't want to get yourself into debt trying to do this if you don't have to. There's plenty of funds out there, but you have to know where to look and you have to know where to start. And I've always recommended going to your local workforce office, because that is a good place to start. That is how I got my schooling paid for, was going through a program at my local workforce office. So it's just something to think about. I will leave that link for that video down in the description box below. Something else that I wanted to address on here was if I could go back. And I believe the viewer said, where is it? Would you have still went for your coding education, or is HIM a better place to start? So HIM, Health Information Management, is an umbrella term, and it's going to cover what we do. I can say that I'm in the HIM field, which is Health Information Management. I'm not a manager, but I do coding. So because of this, it is an umbrella term. That is something that you're going to have to learn when you are in this industry. Some people call it health information technology as well. So HIT or HIM. There's a lot of those things. You're talking about the coders and the ones that are working with medical records and things like that, the supervisors and the clinical documentation improvement people, and all of that falls under those. So that is it's just different wording, and sometimes people will get those words kind of mixed up as well. And as far as like taking courses for billing and taking courses for coding, a lot of times the programs will be called medical billing and coding, or medical coding and billing. But it is something that we all have to learn. Even if you aren't going to be a biller and you just want to be a coder, you're still going to have to learn about reimbursement. Okay, it is just part of the industry, and that's part of what we do. So thank you very much for your email, and I hope this helps. I hope that response helps. But like I said, I always recommend going directly to the association websites if you're going to pay for your education. So next email. Good evening. I began my medical coding journey through a community college back in ICD 9 times and failed the CPC exam twice and was discouraged because I was top of my class. I decided to begin work in other industries, thus leading to 12 years in the private sector in HR, facilities, customer service. I am detail-oriented, highly adaptable in any situation, and composed and extremely computer literate. I have applied for larger hospitals as well as clinics. I understand how research, and I understand how to navigate sites like CMS. I spend my time watching medical coding webinars, and I have double the amount required for my CEU quota. I love learning and even watch procedures on YouTube to gain extra knowledge. That's wonderful, because I always recommend that. I have taught myself ICD-10 and received my CPCA in June of 2019. I'm currently unemployed, and I know that medical coding is my passion. I paid to have my cover letter and resume professionally revised by coding professionals. I have no record, and I have always been a high-producing employee. I have run into a few shady callbacks requiring sensitive information like social security numbers, but have not provided. I have found your videos extremely helpful. What advice would you give me? So when it comes to paying a professional to write your resume, that has never, I don't know, because I'm a writer, you know, like I like to write, so I've never been comfortable with having somebody else write for me. I think that anybody can write a resume. I just think that you have to sit down and actually think about your skills, because nobody can describe you better than you if you listen to yourself and if you think about all of your skills. So when it comes to writing about your cover letter, and all the things about you that you don't put on your resume, because your resume is basically like your card in long form, and it's just saying all the skills that you have. But your cover letter is going to reveal that personality. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing a video on Friday about resume tips and cover letter tips. All right, so I hope you'll join me then. And this is for brand new medical coders as well as veteran medical coders, but just sort of some ideas to give you guys when it comes to how to write your own resume. But like I said, think about all the skills that you have, and then look at the job listing itself and see if anything that they're asking for you have. If you possess any of those skills, make sure that it's on your resume, because those trigger words is what the system is looking for. Lots of times when people are going through these, applying at these places, it's a computer that's weeding out the ones that is going to make it to the next round, you know, to be reviewed. So you want to make sure that if you possess any of those skills, that you're putting that in your resume, and that you're making your cover letter look as personable as possible, because this cover letter is going to give them a glimpse of your personality and a glimpse of what they can expect from you. So again, we're going to be talking about that in tomorrow's episode. But if you've been a medical coder and you still want to do this, but you haven't gotten a job yet, there are many reasons why. But it could be just a simple fact of not applying at enough places, or not applying at other different positions around coding. So you can always apply for a risk adjustment coder. They have those. And a lot of times I've been seeing those with no experience required, which is a little scary when you think about it. But if you can get your start there, by all means. There's also medical records. Medical records won't necessarily get you experience with coding, but it will get you around the people who are doing the hiring for the coding. Okay, and it is just as important to do that, because you have to get around people so that they get to know you. And that's in putting your resume out there is really huge in that. All right, and then there's also working in a medical office as a secretary, or as a receptionist and things like that, because that's going to put you around those other people. Now, when you're applying for those receptionist positions, or working in the front office and things like that, you can say that you're a medical coder, and that's bringing value to their practice. And practices and facilities, they're all about them. What can you do for me? And that's the way they are, and that's how you got to think, okay? And so you have a valuable set of skills. Not everybody has been to school to become a medical coder, and not everybody is going to be certified. It is the amount of people that are not certified in any given practice in any given day is astounding. That is how badly coders are really needed. But sometimes you have to get creative in order to get your foot in the door. But I would definitely make sure that you let them know that you are a certified medical coder, and the value that you're bringing to them is going to help them, you know, tenfold. You know, because then you're going to be able to look at what are they reporting, and what does the documentation look like. So that is just something to think about, and that would be my advice. So look at other positions to apply for. Apply for billing, because again, billing is going to get you that exposure to the codes, not necessarily the coding, but it is going to help you to fill up your resume, okay? Because there is some coding that some billers do, not all, but some. But having that knowledge of those payors, right, it will be really helpful as well, because then you've had that experience on top of now having your certification. So that's my advice. Next letter. Hi Blue. I really have been enjoying your channel, and I'm a new subscriber, and I've been trying to look into medical billing and courses to take. In my city, there is a woman who teaches a medical billing course. On her Instagram, it says that the course prepares you for the certified medical billing specialist exam, and that is approved partner on the Medical Association of Billers. It doesn't say that it teaches coding, but I'm desperate to get out of what I'm doing now. Have you ever heard of Medical Association of Billers? Would it be worth it to go through a billing program, or should I try to find a billing and coding program? Sorry if my question is confusing. I'm so confused. Okay, and another thing I will say is this. Guys, don't apologize. If you're asking a question, do not apologize, because of the simple fact that you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know unless you ask, right? And I'm one of those ones that I believe in getting to the point, even though some people tell me, Blue, get to the point in my videos. Guys, I don't script these things, okay? If I read from something, I read from something. But other than that, my stuff is not scripted. It is off the cuff, okay? This is how I think, and this is what is best for me. But when it comes to asking questions and getting to the point with providers, or getting to the point with instructors, or getting to the point with other coders, I cut out all the other extra words, which is, I'm sorry, don't apologize for asking questions, all right? And now, I hope that you've had some time to watch some of my videos about what I say about medical billing, which is that you don't have to be certified to be a medical biller. Yes, there is an association, that Medical Association of Billers. I have heard of them. However, if you want to just be a biller, you don't have to be certified. If you are wanting to be a medical coder, then I would strongly suggest going through the association websites themselves, because they have their online medical coding programs. Try not to get wrapped up in all these other things, as far as like these other really quick programs. You don't want to do those quick programs. You want to go with something with the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coders. That is the only thing that I can recommend. And like I said, you don't have to be certified to be a medical biller. So that would be my advice on that. But really choose carefully when you're paying for education, especially when it's coming out of your pocket. Just ask lots of questions, okay? But like I said, if you want to be a medical coder, then you need to be certified with AHIMA or AAPC, okay? Next question, or next email. It says, I thank you for going into detail about everything. I loved how at the end, it all comes back to assisting the provider. I cannot deal with clicks, drama, and issues that are irrelevant, but can make working with others difficult. I've encountered it many times, and was looking into medical coding as more introverted and self-reliant task. But based off of your video, there are several interactions with providers and coworkers. It is all about just learning how to manage and grow as an individual, and quality versus quantity. That is absolutely right. Because when you think about it, the most important person when you are, or people rather, but when you are coding, first and foremost, it is the provider, and making sure that you are having a really good relationship with them, so that you understand what they're trying to say on paper. Because, you know, there's disconnectedness. You know, they're in the room with the patient. You're not in the room. You don't know what's happening in there. So they need to make sure that they're being as descriptive as they possibly can in the encounter note, right? So because of this, you want to make sure that everything that is happening there, because what is happening in that room, the provider may not think about, oh, well, that is, I need to document that. Because it's just natural to them, and it is just something that they do by second nature. So that's something that you need to make sure that you're sort of thinking about, what are they trying to say here, and really talking and engaging with them. So you could still be introverted and still talk with providers, because as you start to get into medical coding, if you get into anything, if you really enjoy it, you develop a passion for it, then it is possible to come out of your shell. And I think a lot of times when people are introverted, and it's because they're very quiet and shy and things like that. And I totally get that, because believe it or not, I am actually a very shy person. I know I come off with a very exuberant personality on here, which I am. This is me authentically. But in real life, and when I'm meeting new people, I do get very shy. I mean, it just happens. So because of this, when I really started to have my aha moment with coding, and the light bulb went on, and that's when the passion started to grow, and that was in 2014. And so when I had that moment, and now it's just like anytime it's like, oh, coding, and I can just start talking about it, and I get really excited, and I start, to really come out of my shell, and it is because of the passion that I have. So I think a lot of times, even if you are an introvert and you think, well, I want a job that is very quiet because I'm shy and things like that, you'll start to come out of your shell, when you start to discover how much you really love it, and then sometimes, your personality is just quiet, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But yes, it is about learning to teach yourself to grow, and that's always a good thing. When you are growing, that's awesome, because doing that is just going to make you a better person, a more well-rounded person. And the more well-rounded you are, the more opportunities you can have. And that is where the fun really comes in, okay? Because there's so much out there to do, and we get one rodeo, folks. I'm just saying, okay? And the last letter, because I'm at 21 minutes. Yeah, I'll have to do the other one on another episode. So it says, "Hi Blue. First, again, thank you so much for your videos. I have a question. I never studied before, so I went to the AHIMA website to sign up for the CPC class, and I didn't see any option to sign up for that class. I don't know if you have the link. Then I went to Ed2Go website, and they offer a CPC class online too. And I wanted to sign up to a good school. Which do you think is the best? My second question is, I don't study for a long time, so maybe it will be a little hard for me to study and memorize. Do you do one-on-one tutoring? I would love it. Thank you so much." So the thing is, the CPC is not with AHIMA. The CPC is with AAPC. So really know which credentials will go with which. And I will attach a video that I talked about the credentials, and I broke them down in the description box below. So I invite you guys to check that video out. It is important to know which association you want to go with and which credential that you want to sit for. Okay, so that video is going to explain a lot of that and take a lot of those questions away. But I will leave the link for the AHIMA course down in the description box below, because it's a little weird to get to. Okay, so I will say that. But I always recommend, like I said, going to the online schools directly with the associations themselves. I don't know anything about Ed2Go. I mean, I don't. But other than the fact that she went there. But like I said, going directly to the association websites, you really can't go wrong. And then as far as like, do I offer tutoring? Yes, I do. I do have a Patreon channel that does include, at the higher pledge levels, it does include one-on-one tutoring with me. The higher levels include different amounts of time. But if you want to just bypass Patreon, you don't want to see all of the crossword puzzles and all of the other games that I have on there, or the other little coding quizzes that I have on there, you can contact me for one-on-one rates for tutoring, and I'm totally open for that. I've been a medical coder for over 10 years, and I really love what I do. If you've seen any of my 400 plus videos, 400 plus, come on guys, I really love it. So that's just something that, it's something that I enjoy. So I do my tutoring sessions over Zoom, and so that way we have some face-to-face time, and so hopefully that will help. If you have questions, it's a lot easier than trying to be on the phone or trying to do Messenger. So it's just, what I have. So I will leave the link for my Patreon down in the description box below, and I will leave my email. So if you have any emails that you would like for me to read on next video of Letters to Blue, let me know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye!